I'm sure, like, coming out of our first year, we all really miss our family, and especially our friends. Whoa, it's backwards, okay. This is my best friend. We've spent every summer together for as long as I can think of, but this summer will be very different. Due to her having pancreatitis, which is a genetic illness, she has to go through a procedure this summer, which will ultimately result in her not being able to live a normal life. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services describes pancreatitis as symptoms of having intense abdomen and lower back pain, nausea, vomiting, fever, rapid pulse, and intense weight loss. And my friend has experienced all these throughout high school, which has ultimately made her miss so many days of high school and take out large gaps of college. The National Institute of Diabetes, Digestive and Kidney Diseases explains pancreas as the inflammation of your pancreas, which can have lasting damage because there's acute pancreas, like pancreatitis, and chronic pancreatitis, which is what my friend has. And that damage ultimately leads to pancreatic cancer if it is not dealt with. Today, I will be explaining why we should be supportive of stem cell medical procedures, which could help advance patient recovery and create a productive shift in the medical industry that will ultimately help our loved ones who have to undergo harsh procedures. I know pancreatitis is a really scary disease, and not many of you know anyone with pancreatitis, but I'm sure each of you know have lost a loved one or know someone who's undergoing a really detrimental disease. The current procedures for pancreatitis, most cancers, and diabetes are often very invasive, and even if they ultimately do help the original problem, they have very harsh side effects. For example, my best friend Naya has to get her pancreas removed, which will stop her from developing pancreatic cancer, but she will have to deal with type 1 diabetes for the rest of her life. In 2018, Michael G. Saar writes in the medical book Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, talking about how the current attempts to treat pancreatitis include oral pancreatic enzymes, non-narcotic analgesics, psychopharmacological agents, and celiac blocks, which help deal with the pain in the meantime, but ultimately stick the patient in a cycle of physical and psychological damage of feeling okay and then just cycling back into the pain they have to endure. And these have been the treatments for pancreatitis since 1999. So as you can see, we haven't advanced. In 2015, the medical book Transplantation of the Pancreas, Dr. Rainer W.G. Gressner from University of Minnesota's Department of Surgery explains how pancreatitis often leads to type 1 diabetes, as do many liver and kidney diseases. And type 1 diabetes is the number 7th leading cause of death and the number 1 leading cause of blindness. And this just shows that because these treatments haven't evolved, we're in such a big need of new change and something very dynamic and successful. So today I want to talk about how stem cell procedures could ultimately be the biggest advancement in the medical industry. And as of right now, donor stem cell procedures are FDA approved and allowed in America, but because they are so expensive and most of the clinics are in other countries, they're practically unavailable to any U.S. citizens unless they have the financial and means to travel, which is often as you know, if you have a chronic illness, you're not going to want to be on a plane and stuff like that. So as of 2018, Mike Ranzuela, a GeoStar investor, talks about how there are only 7 locations of stem cell clinics, and they're all located outside of the United States. So these stem cell procedures have been very successful, but because they're not in the United States, they're unaccessible. So if my friend wanted to avoid getting type 1 diabetes and undergo a stem cell procedure, she'd have to travel very far and spend a lot. So I know one of the biggest problems with stem cell research and stem cell medical procedures is that people are very skeptical about whether they are unsafe or not, and that's why I want to urge the awareness and support of it, because even if there's not enough knowledge behind it, just even understanding it and bringing more of the knowledge and information into America, we'd be able to create faster change. So GeoStar, known as the Global Institute of Stem Cell Therapy and Research, has provided over 4,000 successful stem cell treatments and have been conducting stem cell research since 1998. And GeoStar talks about how donor, like I mentioned earlier, donor stem cells are FDA approved, and that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services does support stem cells, but because not many people are aware of it and not many people know the huge need, it doesn't have enough funds to come into America. So I just want to imagine your loved one who has gone through, if you know anyone who has had cancer, chemotherapy, or anyone with type 1 diabetes that may have developed blindness, or just the daily struggle any of these people have to go through. The stem cell procedures have little time spent doing them, whereas chemo, I know they have to come in every so often and get it done. So, like I mentioned earlier, the stem cell procedures also have a lot less side effects than most invasive surgeries and would have a lot less downtime. My friend has literally 2 months of downtime where she can't leave her house and will have to use a feeding tube over summer, whereas stem cell, there'd be a month of recovery and less life-altering changes after the procedure. Oh, sorry. So as to summary, stem cell procedures need to be supported and researched to prove that they are safe, effective, and then have funds to become accessible to all people. Jack Gray, founder of Silkai Cosmetics, which is a stem cell-based cosmetic company, discusses how their problems have teamed up with the group I mentioned earlier, GeoStar LLC, to conduct research, and they'll be selling products which will be available in the United States, and these products include, I know one of their products is if you have a sunburn, you spray it on, and the stem cells will recover your sunburn in a day, so you won't be red anymore or have symptoms of sunburn. And they're going to use their profits from Silkai Cosmetics and donate them to a portion to GeoStar in order to support stem cell medical research. So I just wanted to increase awareness about this company because their products will be released as of July 2018, and that way we could all help support medical stem cell research. And on May 30th, 2017, John Fritz from USA Today talks about how President Trump signed a landmark, which is the Right to Try legislation, which gives terminally ill patients the ability to access drugs that have cleared the initial phase of review but have not been cleared by the FDA. So one, stem cell research is approved by the FDA, but even though there's still a lot unknown, this law to clear would just mean that more patients would be able to try stem cell if they wanted to, but this is obviously only if it is accessible, which is why we should all buy this product in order to donate money to the research fund. And then these are examples of other things they sell, like wrinkle cream and hair growth serums. So I don't want to urge you to go tell your loved ones to try a new crazy medical procedure that we don't know much about, because obviously stem cell research is still being learned about, but I just want to urge everyone to support studies that can progress towards a productive means of helping all those with diseases like my friends. And even if you don't know someone with pancreatitis, I'm sure all of you can definitely think of a loved one who's going through a similar situation, which is why we should all support, if not stem cell research, just the dynamic of a productive medical learning. Thank you.